Pope Benedict XVI, successor to the much-loved John Paul II. Benedict's election was as unlikely as it was inevitable.
I was quite sure that they would not elect him because he was German, because of the history of the war, because that he was participating in Hitler's army.
As a cardinal, he was a strict conservative.
He had this reputation as the doctrinal enforcer.
His views were in line with those of Pope John Paul II, and the Pope came to rely on him.
Cardinal Ratzinger's role was that he was an intimate. They got along, they trusted each other.
And when the beloved Pope died, the job fell to him. They were enormous shoes to fill.
All Joseph Ratzinger, the cardinal, wanted to do was go back and write his books of theology. Suddenly, John Paul II dies. You go into the Sistine Chapel on a Sunday, and on a Monday, you're the Pope.
And as Pope, he has caused controversy.
Show me just what Muhammad brought that was new, and there you will find things only evil and inhuman, such as his command to spread by the sword the faith he preached.
Despite his missteps, he can still attract an audience.
One of the differences between the people who come to see Pope Benedict and the people who came to see John Paul, particularly towards the end, was that many people came to see John Paul, whereas now people come to listen to Benedict.
The oldest pope elected since Clement XII in 1730. It even surprised him.
I had truly believed that I had finished my life's work, and that I could look forward to a quiet end to my life. And so it was, with genuine conviction, that I said to the Lord, "Please don't let it be me."
It was easy to know the doctrine. It's much harder to help 1 billion people live it.
On April 19, 2005, the eyes of the world were on Rome. More than 100,000 of the faithful waited anxiously in St. Peter's Square to witness the announcement of the new Pope, the successor to Pope John Paul II.
I was praying, I remember at a certain point the telephone went whoop, whoop, because I took off the volume, but whoop, whoop, white holy smoke. And so we ran, I was with my cousin and another friend. You know, when we have a new Pope, Romans run.
And then, shortly before 6 p.m., the waiting was finally over.
Sancte Romane Ecclesiae Cardinale Ratzinger.
The crowd in St. Peter's Square broke out cheering. Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger from Germany was named Pope. He took the name Benedict XVI.
The cardinals have elected me, a simple, humble worker in the vineyard of the Lord.
You know, when Pope Benedict XVI was elected, everybody, me included, thought, uh-oh, this is going to be interesting.
When it became a little bit clear that Ratzinger would be elected Pope, I knew that many Catholics in Germany or all over the world will say, "Oh God, Ratzinger, it's terrible."
I was quite sure that they would not elect him because he was German, because of the history of the war, because that he was participating in Hitler's army.
From the Hitler Youth Movement to Pope, that was the recurring headline the day after the election. The British press in particular accused Ratzinger of not having distanced himself clearly from National Socialism during World War II. A few journalists even claimed that Ratzinger secretly sympathized with Hitler.
Of course, he was a young boy, and he was, as every other young boy, meant to wear certain clothes at that time and participate in certain gathering. But I believe, and he wrote it himself, that his conversion and big decision in becoming a priest, I believe it's because of the Nazi time.
What's more important about Benedict's wartime service, about Joseph Ratzinger's wartime service, is what he took away from that experience, what it meant for the rest of his life.
Ratzinger's election was controversial, not only because of his association with the Third Reich, but because of his reputation as a conservative hardliner among modern Catholics. As prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, he acted as the Vatican's doctrinal watchdog and earned the nickname God's Rottweiler.
As head of the Holy Office, Cardinal Ratzinger basically had the worst job in Christendom. He was the guy who draws the lines in the sand. He's working at the behest of the Pope, in that case, Pope John Paul II. But he, in effect, in that job, was the bad cop to Pope John Paul II's good cop.
The guy who has to fire people who do not behave well is not loved. Nobody likes somebody who has the simple job to throw out somebody who does not behave as he has to.
For his strict doctrinal positions, he was called the Panzer Cardinal, the Enforcer, and Cardinal No, among other things.
Nobody can be indifferent to negative comments on that scale, or to the feelings of hatred and rejection. Nobody is unaffected by that sort of thing. But it was quite clear to him that it was his duty to see that the faith was not corrupted, adulterated, or deformed.
In September 2006, Ratzinger returned to his native Germany as Pope Benedict XVI. It was there, while giving a talk at his old university in Regensburg, where he would make one of his biggest blunders as Pope. It was September 12, 2006, the day after the 5th anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. Emotions were still raw when the Pope said,
"Show me just what Muhammad brought that was new, and there you will find things only evil and inhuman, such as his command to spread by the sword the faith he preached."
The remark sparked outrage. The reaction from Muslims was instantaneous. Feeling Mohammed, the founder of their religion, had been slandered, they held angry and violent demonstrations.
Benedict doesn't seem to have a diplomatic bone in his body.
He wasn't going out there to offend, but that's certainly what he did.
The Vatican tried through diplomacy to defuse the conflict, but it was not until the Pope traveled to Turkey at the end of November 2006 that he was able to dispel the last reservations. In a mosque in Istanbul, he demonstrated his respect for Islam by means of prayer.
I am not sure whether the Pope has forgotten that he was speaking as a Pope, and perhaps he was prepared to have a speech, to make a speech as a professor. If he would have been only professor, nobody would have made a noise on this quotation. But now, as a pope, he must be more careful.
The great irony of the first couple of years of Benedict's pontificate is that his greatest controversy was not about the Catholic Church or within the Catholic Church. It was vis-a-vis the Muslim community.
Pope Benedict had clearly gone too far. The Catholic Church managed with difficulty to prevent an open dispute.
The fact that he was so shocked and ambushed by the reaction, one day after 9/11, giving this, citing this inflammatory anecdote, just gives you a sense of kind of how removed, in many respects, he is from the real world.
And the Pope has caused a stir in a different sense with his fashions. From his red leather loafers to his unusual hats, the Pope has made quite an impression.
Some of these fashions that he's been wearing, I think, are interesting in the sense that he's really recycling papal fashions from centuries ago, like his ermine-trimmed red velvet cap that he sometimes wears, or even the shoes that he wears. These are things that were traditions of decades or even centuries ago among popes.
In many ways, Pope Benedict XVI is an unlikely pope. His greatest ambition was to lead a classroom, but he ended up leading the Catholic Church instead.